Can you imagine what it feels like to give back an Olympic gold medal for something you didn't do? In today's episode of the Leadership Project, we reflect on the revelations that Michael Johnson gave back one of his 5 gold medals due to something that was completely out of his control. We also share reflections on our amazing interview with Clint Padgett of the Project Success Method. All businesses are people businesses. All projects are people projects. And success rides on the back of how we inspire and motivate our teams. Enjoy. Welcome back to the Leadership Project and our Self-Reflection Fridays. This is part of our new format. We share with you an interview with an international guest on a Monday and our leadership self-reflections on a Friday. In today's show, we're going to explore the revelation that Michael Johnson has given back one of his 5 Olympic gold medals for something that wasn't even in his control. And we're going to unpack the leadership lessons that come from that. We will also, at the end of the show, share my 5 reflections on leadership this week, asking the same self-reflection questions that I ask myself every day for the past 11 years. But to begin with, we're going to reflect on our amazing interview with Clint Padgett. Clint was our guest on episode 191. Clint is the owner of the Project Success Method and has a wonderful career of complex project management, including managing major projects for Coca-Cola and working on multiple Olympics from the 1996 Olympics, where Michael Johnson was the first person to win the 200 and 400 meter double in the same Olympics. So let's unpack our reflections from the interview with Clint. If you haven't caught that interview, please do go back and listen to episode 191. My first takeaway is that all businesses are people businesses. All projects are people projects. Without inspired and motivated people, nothing happens. It's also true that without effective project management, we have chaos. But what struck me was how pervasive this statement becomes around the fact that everything rises and falls on our ability to inspire and motivate our people. Some of these impacts are mostly obvious. The more inspired and motivated the team are, the more effort they will put in. When team members understand the why of what they are doing, they are significantly more likely to roll up their sleeves and get on with it. And many project challenges are communication breakdowns, where you have different departments or team members not working to the same plan or strategy. There are also some less obvious things that come through. The critical path doesn't just impact the project, it impacts the people. If someone is running late on their task, they are impacting the next person in the chain that may have that task as a critical dependency to their task. All of a sudden, we have someone working nights or on a weekend and spending time away from their families because someone else missed a deadline. This brings home the people element strongly about project management. There are also people elements to estimating and planning tasks. You'll have some people that are naturally pessimistic and risk-averse in their estimates, and others that are overly confident. We need to manage these factors in the overall project. This may impact the way we challenge someone's estimates. Rather than just asking someone if they can bring in a 20-day task in 15 days, we should get curious and ask better questions. What assumptions have you made in your estimate? What risks did you factor in? Or what would need to be true if this could be done in 15 days? This is also definitely where Parkinson's law kicks in and our personal comfort zones come into play. Let's start with Parkinson's law. This law tells us that the work expands to fill the time afforded to it. If we have a task that could be done in 15 days and we allocate 20 days, the task is going to take 20 days. It may even take 22 days if the person procrastinates a little and leaves things to the last minute. Our comfort zone and the Yerkes-Dodson curve come in when we think about how far we can push the team. If we ask someone to do a 15-day task in 5 days, they probably won't even try. The secret here is to push people just beyond their comfort zone so they strive for high performance, but not so far beyond their comfort zone that they feel they are not set up for success. Effective project management and the use of project management tools are essential for project success, for coordinating and aligning the team, for understanding critical dependencies, for understanding the critical path, for understanding risks. But it is the people at the end of the day that do the work. We need to inspire them, we need to motivate them, we need to enable and empower them for success. We need to look after their welfare, and we always need to be cognizant of the impact on people when we make project changes. We shift our focus now to Michael Johnson and him giving back one of his 5 gold medals. Michael Johnson has always been one of my sporting heroes. At one point, he went more than a decade without losing a single race in the 400 metres, arguably the hardest event in world athletics. I still distinctly remember watching him in the Sydney Olympics in 2000. In the final, he was striding down the back straight with his signature upright yet relaxed running style, his head seemingly fixed in place with a gyroscope. He took a subtle glance up to the jumbotron to see where his other competitors were, and he knew by the 200-metre mark that he had already won the event. The juxtaposition was the smile or smirk that came across his face in comparison to the grimaces on the face of the other athletes that were trying in vain to catch him. Michael Johnson's interview on the High Performance podcast is eye-opening. He shared so many nuggets of gold about the fact that staying on top is harder than getting to the top. What got you here will not keep you here. You need to be constantly changing and adapting because everyone else around you is also improving all the time. They're coming for you. He also shared that he never missed a training session in his entire life, training 2 sessions per day and following his program to the letter. He left nothing to chance. His view was that you don't get what you deserve, you get what you work for, that success doesn't care what you think you deserve, that excellence is always the goal, that teamwork creates the dream work, and that there are no shortcuts. He is the very embodiment of high performance and having a high performance mindset. So why is this amazing athlete, one of the greatest of all time, now giving back one of his 5 gold medals? The story is from one of his teammates, Antonio Pettigrew, and it's a sad story. Johnson competed in the 4x400 metres with his fellow countrymen, only for many years later for Antonio to admit to performance-enhancing drugs. There are many facets to this story. Firstly, this is someone that Johnson knew relatively well, and he had no idea about the drugs. This reinforces that no matter how well we think we know someone, we do not always know what is going on for them on the inside or in their personal life. Another factor is that I do question what goes on in the mind of these athletes that choose the path of performance-enhancing drugs. What drives them to do this? Do they think that this is the only way they are going to win? Do they convince themselves of a story in their mind that everyone else is doing it and this is the only way that they can compete? I wonder for those that do win like this, do they always regret it? Does it feel hollow? Does it feel hollow to know that they won by breaking the rules? The next facet is Johnson's willingness to give back his gold medal. Now keep this in mind. The US team won this race by an incredible margin. They could have had almost anyone as the 4th runner and still won that race. Johnson had the opportunity and the grounds to dispute the forfeiture of the medal, but decided to put up no fight and willingly give back the medal. In Johnson's eyes, he did not want to have this gold medal that was not cleanly secured like his other 4. He considered that this robbed other athletes of their chance for Olympic glory, robbing someone else of their moment, their day in the sun. This speaks volumes of the values and ethics of this amazing man. In stark contrast, I do sometimes consider the actions of people like Lance Armstrong and Floyd Landis. In Armstrong's case, 7 years of Tour de France records were expunged like it never happened. Not only did he rob others of their chance for victory, but now all of that training and exertion in the world's toughest race becomes merely a footnote. For Floyd Landis, the eventual winner, Oscar Pereiro, was given their maillot jaune, or the yellow jacket, at their house, almost like it was a FedEx delivery. They were robbed, Oscar was robbed, of his chance to stand on the Champs-Élysées in victory. Now back to Michael Johnson. Johnson was already one of my heroes, and now my view of him has only increased. He goes up alongside Australian cricketer Adam Gilchrist, who had similar values of having the hunger to win, but only to do so if it was fair. For those not familiar with cricket and Adam Gilchrist, he had an impeccable record of giving himself out if he thought he was out and the umpire had missed something. Even when the match was on the line, the only way he wanted to win was fair and square. We've seen this in other sports too. I remember distinctly Roger Federer telling an opposition player to challenge a line call that he was certain was in and had been called out. This was to his own detriment and to his opponent's gain. We also see distance runners helping their fellow competitors win a race if they had misjudged the finish line. Instead of passing them, they would egg them on. The race is not done, because if they were going to win, they wanted it to be fair. And they did not want to rob the runner who had clearly beat them to miss out due to a technicality. My reflections on this are that in life and in business, the only true victory is a clean victory. Winning by breaking the rules is just not something I can live with. If someone says, "But who would know?" the answer is, I would know. And I would have to live with myself every day for the rest of my life. It would be the hollowest of victories. I would never know if I deserved that victory, and I would be robbing someone else more worthy of their moment of glory. For Antonio Pettigrew, the story gets even sadder, as he went on to take his own life and left his young family behind with no answers. So ask yourself this: is it worth it? Are your values and ethics for sale, or are they the most important, integral part of who you are? So, what are my leadership reflections this week? As you all know, if you've been following the show, I've asked myself the same 5 questions every day for the past 11 years. And on this show, I'm sharing with you live some of my reflections from this week. The 5 questions I ask are: what went well? What didn't go well? What would I do differently next time? What did I learn about myself? And what did I learn about others? So how about this week? What went well? Another strong week of prioritization. I had some things that I did not get finished, but it was the things that I said no to that enabled me to do a better job of what was important. What didn't go well? This week, it was Thomas's swimming lesson. Thomas, our 3-year-old, was nervous for his swimming lesson this week, and for whatever reason did not want to approach the water. The more we pushed him, not literally, but the more we pushed him, the more he dug his heels in. It was not until we backed right off that he went forward to the swimming teacher on his own volition. There's a leadership lesson in this for all of us. Our very definition of leadership is to inspire people into meaningful action around a worthy cause because they want to do it, not because they were told to do it. And if we are trying to force people into action, it may backfire. They may just dig their heels in even further. We need to get curious. We need to understand what's going on. If we want to convince someone to do action, we need to inspire them, not force them. What would I do differently next time? I would have gotten down on Thomas's level and asked him more questions about what was bothering him. Instead of just reminding him that he liked swimming, I would have gotten more curious about where this had come from and what was stopping him this week from approaching the poolside. What did I learn about myself? I can get frustrated just like anyone else. The frustration itself is not necessarily a problem. The key is to be aware and to process it in an effective way. This also includes expressing your frustration, but doing it in an appropriate manner and to the right degree, not just bottling it up, as I have had a history of doing that in the past. And it does make me think of my favourite quote from Aristotle, which is that anyone can be angry. That is easy. But to be angry with the right person, for the right reasons, in the right way, and to the right degree, that is not easy. You can replace the word angry with almost any emotion, and this can really hold you in good stead when it comes to your emotional intelligence. Now, what did I learn about others? Values and ethics are more important than hollow victories that may haunt us for the rest of our life. It's just not worth it. Those that put our values and ethics first are the ones that become the pillars of our society, people to look up to and to follow the lead of. These are true leaders, leaders that lead with their values, lead with their ethics, and still achieve the most amazing things. So that's it for this week's Self-Reflections. In the next episode, we'll be joined by Dr. Benjamin Ritter. Ben is a return guest. We've had him on the show before. In this interview, we're going to be talking about becoming fearless and finding career fulfillment. If you're enjoying our content, it would be greatly appreciated if you could leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcast or your preferred podcast service. You can also subscribe to the Leadership Project YouTube channel, where you can catch our video podcasts, weekly curated videos, and our weekly live stream show. Thank you for listening to the Leadership Project at mickspiers.com. A huge call out to Faris Sadek for his video editing of all of our video content, and to all of the team at TLP. Joanne Goes On, Gerald Calabo, and my amazing wife, Say Spiers. I could not do this show without you. Don't forget to subscribe to the Leadership Project YouTube channel, where we bring you interesting videos each and every week. And you can follow us on social, particularly on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Now, in the meantime, please do take care, look out for each other, and join us on this journey as we learn together and lead together.